Hey, everybody, I hope you're doing well today. Let's take a look at the administrative barriers to free trade so you have an understanding of what they are. And this is the sort of last way in which a government can intervene in international trade. Of course, the first is a protective tariff, protective subsidy, a quota, and then there's these administrative barriers to free trade. So let's take a look at what they are. There are basically four. One is called red tape, health and safety standards and environmental standards, embargoes, and nationalistic campaigns. Usually, in every IB course companion or any economics course, you'll see these first three listed. And I threw this last one in there because I kind of think it's another way that a government can help promote its own goods that are produced in its country. So red tape. What's red tape? Well, red tape is sort of an idiom to talk about the ways in which the government inefficiency. Well, governments can purposely make something difficult in order for it to diminish the likelihood that it'll be imported. So red tape is when goods are being imported, they're usually administrative processes that have to be undertaken, which may be known as red tape. If the processes are lengthy and complicated, then they may act as a restriction to imports. So just think about the government making it a hassle for other businesses or other countries to trade with them. At some point, the government of the other country would be like, forget it. And then the government, to put up all these administrative barriers, this red tape, can just say, hey, we're welcoming your goods, and you just decided not to export them to our country. But really what they did is they put up all these nonsensical, difficult barriers to make it difficult, red tape, for the products from another country to enter their country. So another thing that governments can do is health and safety standards and environmental standards. Various restrictions may be placed on the types of goods that can be sold in the domestic market or on the methods used in the manufacture of certain goods. And these regulations will apply to imports, and they restrict their entry. This is a pretty valid reason. Many countries, in looking out for the health and safety of their own citizenry, will bar or ban certain products coming in. There was a situation a few years ago in the United States where there was a toxic lead-laden paint that was put on plastic toys coming in from China, and it led to sickness of many children in the United States. And so the United States banned certain products coming from these certain products coming from China. So health and safety standards, environmental standards might be another reason why governments would find reason to protect their own people. And that could be a fairly reasonable and, of course, credible reason to import, or to rather protect your own country. Another example that might be good is like certain countries might not accept drugs, pharmaceuticals that are coming from another country because they don't trust the quality of the drugs that are coming in from another country, and so they'll put a ban on drugs coming in from a particular country to protect their own citizens. Another thing a country can do is embargoes. An embargo, so that you know, is a complete ban on imports and is usually put in place as a form of political punishment, right? And an embargo you could think about as an extreme quota. They're pretty rare. Mainly economic sanctions are more common. An embargo, one of the biggest, longest standing embargoes ever, were products coming from Cuba to the United States. Of course, it was political as a result of Fidel Castro and the reaction of the United States that it held on to for practically 50 years. But an embargo is another administrative barrier. It's a political barrier, really, from imports from another country. And the last thing here is nationalistic campaigns. Governments will sometimes run marketing campaigns to encourage people to buy domestic goods instead of foreign ones in order to generate more demand for domestic goods and preserve domestic jobs. So sometimes you will see these nationalistic campaigns that come out for a particular good or service. I was just thinking of milk. The United States government or funded also, I don't know if it came from the government, actually, I shouldn't say that, but any sort of public service that comes out, some governments will put together a nationalistic campaign to promote the consumption of the goods from their particular country. I think you get it. It's pretty straightforward. Okay, so administrative barriers. The fourth type of protectionist measurement a government can take. There are mainly three different kinds: red tape, health and safety standards, and environmental standards, and embargoes. The nationalistic campaign is one I threw in there. It's certainly a valid one you could use. These are all good reasons to have in your mind in the evaluation section of all your questions. Okay, hope this video was helpful. Talk to you in a bit.